Go ahead and talk, Paul, real quick. Let me see something.
What do
Oh,
you
look at
say,
that. I see
Mikey?
you right there. All right. So let me move this a little bit closer to me. Let's turn you down a little bit. Hey, hey, hey. I'm going to check it on YouTube. Hey, hey, hey. Here we are live. Look at us live for a second.
Okay, wait, we're on live. Wait, I gotta put. I
I'm
gotta.
going to, well, don't worry. I'm going to take us back off.
I'll turn my
Look at us. Look at us. We're live. I don't even believe it.
A lot. Well, all thanks to you. I did nothing but turn on my computer. You did all the
Yeah,
work.
well, what are you going to do?
Well, welcome to another cup of coffee with Paul Sanchez and my old pal Mike
I'm trying to
Mayu.
figure out where my
And
camera is here. Let's see here. Oh,
basically,
look at that. That's my daughter, who would be completely embarrassed by that
aw,
moment.
aw. And this cup here is made by my nephew Sam Neely, who lives in Flagstaff, Arizona. He's an artist. I meditate on his Samantics pillow. I drink out of his Samantics coffee cup, and he also teaches percussion. So there, we both plugged our
Look at
families
that.
to start
And
the
not
show.
only that, yours is pretty dang dope, actually. That's fancy stuff.
Oh yeah, he makes good stuff, man.
Yeah, you got fancy stuff going there. All right, so I wonder, I'm guessing that it looks like we have audio. You know what I didn't do? There's my iPad.
What
I'm
did
going to
you
make
do?
sure that we actually have audio in a
There's
chat.
going to be technical difficulties. I have a feeling there will be technical difficulties if ever I get asked to do anything.
This
So
isn't called
this is my-
difficulties. This is called not being ready. I don't think it's exactly the same thing, but you know.
User malfunction either way.
Yeah, I guess you're right. But since this is all in fun and games anyway,
Yeah.
let's see. Did I actually?
Well, while you're figuring out what you're figuring out.
Yeah, just gonna make sure we have audio. Oh, look, Freddie just said he hears
Oh
us.
well.
So my friend Freddie Blue just texted me. Hey, we hear you. All right, that's a beautiful
Okay,
thing.
I can stop this nonsense.
Hi, Freddie. By the way, yeah, Freddie Blue works over at the Ellis Marcellus Center, which I finally got to see, which is a beautiful place. My goodness.
Oh yeah, Freddie's a sweet man. He takes care of that place so well, and really encourages the kids at the Ellis Marcellus Center to keep music in their lives. He's a beautiful cat.
Yeah, man.
So thanks for tuning in, Freddie.
Yeah, doing good stuff for the people.
Where you start, Mikey?
Yes, doing good stuff for the people. So, you know, we were talking this morning when I called you up. You'd mentioned, don't you have a show that just premiered on Showtime?
Yeah, my show. It's on
Yeah,
Showtime.
of course. You're in a few episodes. It makes it your show.
Series.
This is acting.
For 3 episodes, it really is my show because the electricity between myself and Bryan Cranston, even though we didn't really interact at all on screen, I still think you could feel the sparks flying on screen.
Let me let people see this with this look of yours. Look at there's Paul. Let me let's see. Let's bring it over. I'm gonna add it. Here he is. Oh, look at that. Oh my goodness.
Sweater vest, which I haven't worn a sweater vest since I was in my 30s at least. I don't know.
Look at this look. I mean, I could see the acting dripping off of you just from that look.
It's clearly something dripping off of me.
And look at that, got you lit up really nicely.
If you want to call it acting, that's great, buddy.
That's the one thing.
I had a ball. It was really fun. There was some great actors in the courtroom scene, and he's besides being an amazing talent, because I've been a fan of Bryan Cranston for years, he's just a genuinely nice person.
Right.
I've worked on a lot of movies as in production mostly. I've done a few acting roles, but mostly I've been a set dresser or locations or whatever I could make money doing. And not every set has a great vibe. And this set had a great vibe top to bottom. The crew was cool with each other. The actors, and there were 6 of us sitting around, and I got to sit with the real actors, and everybody was very friendly and engaging. And one of the ADs, who's an old friend of mine, Alan Breton, he said, well, it starts with number 1. If he's cool, then the vibe just strips down. Everybody's cool. And it really was. Like at one point, we were doing the scene, and the other people with me were extras, in the jury box. And they were setting up a shot, and he just walks over and he says, hey, how you guys doing? And all the jurors were like, wow, yeah, we're good. And he goes, I just wanted to, let you guys know I started as an extra, 40 years ago. And they needed somebody to say one line. And I raised my hand and got to say a line. And here I am. So you never know. Good luck and just enjoy what you're doing today.
Part of me wonders what that line was, because, he's such the dramatic actor. Was it just to step up and say hello?
When he left, the young man sitting next to me was so excited that A, that he had stopped and talked to him, and B, that he was an extra. It really can happen, and of course there's millions of extras and only one Bryan Cranston, but the fact of the matter is that along the journey you have to have some hope, and he didn't have to. He stopped for 5 minutes to give these folks some hope. Yep. It touched me. I thought, what a great guy.
Yeah, exactly. But I was just thinking about, suddenly some of his performances come to mind. So I'm thinking, him like going, hello. you know, just pouring it on.
I mean,
They're like, pass the
think
ketchup.
of the range.
No, you know, just, you know, that kind of.
Him from Breaking Bad, and then back to Malcolm in the Middle, where he was just like broad slapstick comedy.
That's true.
I told a friend of mine, the guy is an amazing actor. If I find out he's a really good singer, it's going to go from admiration to jealousy really soon.
Yeah, right. It's like, you know, stay out of this. You know, plus he was LBJ,
He
right?
probably is. He probably can sing, you know.
Plus he was
He's
LBJ, right? I mean, you know, that's something.
He was in LBJ on Broadway. I didn't get to see that, but I heard he just became the role.
Well, he was in the movie too, the All the Way or whatever they called it, or something like that. So wait, I got a shot, I think, of you as a cop here as well. Because,
that's CIS.
Let's see.
You see, my career in television, after Treme, where I played myself, I started playing law enforcement.
So here you are as a cop.
Bonnie and Clyde as the bailiff swearing her in. And I was Detective Dillard in NCIS last year, and now a juror. So I'm really learning the legal system in New Orleans, and I think that my next career it could be as an attorney.
Obviously, because you know you've read the lines.
Well,
so.
You know, attorneys that stand next to cows, and attorneys that put the hold on you, whatever that's called. And I figure I could be the singing attorney. You know, bring the guitar to the courtroom and sing the case before the judge, you know, be a whole new take on law.
What an opening statement. Did you hear his opening statement? It's brilliant. He brought me to tears. This guy's amazing.
Yes, and then behind me, the judge has got the bailiffs waiting to drag me out of court and put me into a nice, safe, padded room.
Nice.
But NCIS was fun because I love that show. When I was on the road a lot in the last prior 4 years, I would get homesick and I would turn on NCIS with the sound down and practice for my show, just looking at the city because they film it so beautifully.
Yeah,
it just looks great. And then they had lost a New Orleans detective in a car explosion in the previous season, so I thought, sure, Detective Dillard, they needed a New Orleans connection for Pride. They haven't called back yet, but I'm pretty sure.
I'm sure your agent's working out the details right now. I'm sure you know.
Well, we had great on-screen chemistry, and I was told I did well. There was a moment where I said to him, this isn't our first time appearing together in a television show, and he went, really? I said, yeah, about 25 years ago I was on acid, and I zapped into an episode of Quantum Leap and spoke to you for a second, then zapped back out to my couch, but you might not remember it. And he laughed, and then later I thought, they probably won't be calling me back to this job.
This reminds me, I think you had some stories about the Coen brothers early in your career, right? I mean...
Well, like I said, film's been circling around my life for a long time.
Soderbergh, right, was also a buddy, Steven Soderbergh.
Well,
right?
the very first thing was when Backbeats, back in 1983 or 4, Vance DeGeneres was our bass player, and now he's a big Hollywood producer, and back then he was a big rock star from the cold, and he helped elevate the Backbeats from the gutter snipe garage band we were to one of the better draws in the city playing new wave music. And Vance always had friends that were a little bit higher quality than myself. My friends were Fred and Griff.
Right.
Vance was hanging out with doctors and artists and painters, and he met this young fella from Baton Rouge his father was teaching in Baton Rouge, and he had studied film and had himself a little studio and was making videos. And so he came out and he made the video for us in black and white in an alley near Tipitina's on Chapatulas. And then he edited it back when you used to actually have to edit film. It took a long time. And he calls up and he's like, got the video ready and you guys owe me $5,000. And I was like, well, we don't really have $5,000 because we broke up 2 weeks ago, right after the video. And he goes, well, I can't give it to you if y'all can't pay. And I was like, that's cool, because we had become friends, And I said, keep it. He goes, I'm going to put it on my demo reel. And about a year later, I was working on a movie out in Los Angeles as a PA. And at the rap party, I got drunk and sad watching Billy Preston perform, thinking I should be performing somewhere. He was playing at our rap party, Billy Preston. And I'm walking down the street, and I'm seeing signs for the hottest new movie, 1989. All of a sudden, I walk under a marquee that's Sex, Lies, and Videotape by Steven Soderbergh. I just thought, well, that young fellow was talented.
Yes, he was. Yes, he was. You know, James Spader's in
Years
that
later,
movie,
he
and
put us in with Cowboy Mouth in a movie he did called The Underneath.
I was there.
And
That was
I
awesome.
think that's right. I think it was his first flop. He had had a couple of hits in a row, and he did The Underneath. And when he was making his next movie, he did an interview with Gambit where he said, you know, I knew when I was making The Underneath that it was a flop. So I emailed him and I said, look, next time you know you're making a hit, would you put that one?
Right.
He hasn't yet. I know he will. Just like I know NCIS is going to call Detective Dillard back, Mikey, because hope springs eternal.
I figured that you were in traffic somewhere. Maybe you were one of the blue guys or the yellow guys. You know, maybe not the yellow guys, but you know, because I think they were in Mexico. But maybe you were one of the blue guys hanging out with Michael Douglas in the background somewhere, wearing a badge. Who knows?
No, I won't lie about my appearances. They're out there, you know. I will say
you were in the not goods as well.
Business can be a harsh business.
Yes, it can.
I have many stories to tell, but one of my favorites is I worked on Miller's Crossing as a PA, my first job. And the Coen brothers, two of the greatest guys to ever work for. People, I mean, the vibe on that set was awesome because people really were excited to work with them. And those two guys just were really open, really fun guys to watch work and to be around, to catch their energy. And Joel was like the rock star. He looked like Joey Ramone with the long hair and the sunglasses and the leather jackets, and he was real tall and very casual, you know, like a rock star. Mm-hmm. And his brother Ethan was shorter and very nervous fellow, and like curly hair and wore, you know, more collegiate looking shirts, more, you know, dressed down, button down shirts, and more formal looking of the two, and always pacing, always nervous, and didn't really talk to people very much because he had anxiety issues or whatever. And Joel was the director and he's trying to give him his space. So he's just pacing as the producer and making sure it's all going on. Well, there's a scene where Gabriel Byrne is going to walk up the stairs of this apartment house, turn a corner, and he finds John Turturro shot dead. To do the scene, there's a set built in the warehouse that we had in the Irish Channel near the St. Thomas Housing Projects, back when they used to really be the St. Thomas Housing Project. In fact, when they opened up this old abandoned warehouse to take it over as office space and set space, they had to first remove a dead body they found inside.
Perfect.
So this was not the New Orleans film scene of today.
Yeah.
It's a whole different ballgame. So they didn't have a truck in town with a camera crane, a crane truck, whatever. So they rented one from Texas, and the camera crane comes with an operator because it's a tricky device and you got to know how to do it, you know. Well, the director of photography had gone to college with the Coen brothers, a young man named Barry Sonnenfeld, who's since gone on to make some of my favorite movies of all time. But he was the director of photography on this.
Seriously, Barry Sonnenfeld?
Barry Sonnenfeld, yeah.
Okay.
Great director.
Yeah.
And he was the director of photography and he wanted to operate the camera crane. But he'd never done it before. But they were all friends and they were young and they were having fun. So they like, Barry, I do it. Well, it was taking them a little long to figure out how to maneuver that turn. It was, you know, not as easy as he thought it was going to be. And he didn't want to give up and nobody wanted to tell him to give up. So the shot kind of was taking a long time and they had a break for lunch. And the set was a little tense. Mm-hmm. And it was a fun shoot. But there was, of course, tension as there is on every shoot. And this was a tense moment. So everybody went to lunch and I was left to guard the set. And the only person who stayed behind was Ethan, because he normally didn't eat with everybody. He was kind of to himself. And he was there, and he was very nervous and pacing back and forth, back and forth. And I go, tough day, huh, Ethan? And he doesn't even break stride. He's tough day, Paul. He keeps walking. I said, Barry's having a little trouble making that turn with the camera, huh? And he goes, well, man, that might be the problem. I said, well, I think, I might have a solution to the problem. Could help you save the scene. And he stopped pacing, and his anxiety disappeared for a moment. And he smiled at me. He goes, really, Paul, what's that? I said, well, you know, it takes a little longer than you thought to make that turn. So maybe if there was a guy in the corner with an acoustic guitar playing Woody Guthrie kind of songs, the camera could linger on him before it got to the body. Because I had been playing my guitar on set, and at the time I was really into Woody. And so I was like a mascot. I wasn't a very good PA.
Right.
And he eventually moved me into the unit truck to prepare snacks. And I sit in the truck and play my guitar all day, you know, and that was fine by me. And so I said, you know, Woody Guthrie character in the corner. And Ethan smiles big and he goes, Paul, I love that. I think that's the shot we need here. And I'm going to talk to Joel about it. And I just want you to know, if this shot doesn't happen, it's because Joel didn't like it. And I said, I appreciate that, Ethan. Thanks for listening. So, of course, they get the shot, and the day goes on, and the camera truck leaves, and the next morning, I'm standing there with my coffee, and Joel's walking past, and being 29 and a smart ass, I'm not afraid of the director. And I call out, "Hey, Joel, I guess you didn't like my idea, huh?" And he goes, "What idea was that, Paul?" And I start telling him what I told Ethan about the guy in the corner with the shaved head and the cap and what he got the guitar. And he goes, "I love that idea. We need to put that in the scene." And I said, "Oh, but Joel, we already sent the camera truck back to Texas. We can't. That would cost too much money to bring it back." And he looked at me dead serious and went, "Paul, what's the point in making a movie if you're not going to do it right?" And he walked away. And of course, the camera truck did not come back, and I did not get in that scene. But one of their very next films, a couple of films later, was Brother, Where Art Thou? And what does George Clooney play? But a Woody Guthrie type character with a shaved head and a bebop cap. Now, I'm not saying I want the money.
Well, you could say you want the money. I mean,
like Dustin Hoffman in Wag the Dog, I want the credit. They could have said, "We got this idea from this singer we met in New Orleans. He was on the set playing, and we thought we could make a movie. And George Clooney's way better looking than him, so we won't ask him. We'll use George."
Right.
But just a little inspired by Paul Sanchez. No money even.
Inspired by Paul. Even might have been nice.
Up that.
Imagine if they would have said, "Paul, we didn't put you in this, but we figured that you remind us of George Clooney's energy." So, I mean, even if they complimented you that way and you had an email that you could point to and say, "Look, I made them think of George Clooney, and that's how we wound up with this amazing movie."
I just, I didn't want even to enmesh myself in the situation. I wasn't trying to become friends. I wasn't trying to get a job out of it. I didn't want any money. A little tiny credit at the end of the film that said, "Inspired by Paul Sanchez." It changed the trajectory of my songwriting career.
Absolutely. It did it for... who was the guy who from here, Baton Rouge, right? Gosh, I can't believe I can't remember his name, but the blues player who wound up playing the sort of the character.
Chris Thomas, right?
Yes, Chris Thomas King, right?
He was in that movie.
He was in that movie. He actually did really well for him. I remember I used to do Jazz Fest a long time ago.
Now, right there, you just remind me of a great injustice. I mean, he's a great talent.
Yeah.
But I inspired the movie. They could have found a small role for me. I mean, I could have said
been his driver, if nothing else.
Turned it code. I could have said that line.
Yes. Oh, without a doubt. Hey, I gotta look. I got some other wonderful pictures here. Let me see if I can grab one of these other shots of Paul Sanchez as these amazing characters in The Judge. By the way, have you watched The Judge? Did you like it?
It's called Your Honor.
Your Honor. Why do I call it The Judge? There's another show called The Judge, I guess, huh?
Is there?
I think so. There must be because I'm saying it. So if I say it, it must be. All right.
If you say it must be,
Mike. See what I'm saying? I'm glad you're catching on here.
Yeah, well, your wife and my wife won't catch on to that concept.
They have their own opinions about this, but oh, look at this shot. Here's a nice shot of Paul, and it looks like whatever's going on here. I'm gonna bring it up here now, but whatever we got going on here, this looks like this is all right. Let me pull this up. So whatever you were told, you look like you're really giving it some serious thought. My imagination tells me that they just told you to look like. What's the direction here?
I wasn't given specific facial directions, Mikey. I was left to freelance my
they didn't even
facial
give you
any acting. The only real direction I got was to take a bunch of notes. And ironically enough, I've been having trouble with my voice for the last 2.5 years. After 2 throat surgeries, I just developed both singing and speaking problems. I didn't speak or sing for 9 months. And for the last 2 years, it's been a struggle. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. I had to stop performing. And so as my therapies and voice lessons have gone on, I've been learning that when I feel nervous, I should project from lower because it's a different tone. It's not coming from the throat. It doesn't squeeze off sound. So when I went to speak the line, I said my line was down here. Like twice, 2 takes. And on a break, my friend Alan Breton comes up to me and he goes, "Are you fucking trying to be Sam Elliott or something? You think you're going to turn into the next Sam Elliott with the voice?" And I said, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "You're talking like fucking Sam Elliott. What are you doing? That's not you." And I said, "All right, you want me to just talk regular?" "Yeah, talk regular." So then I had to relax myself to make sure my regular voice would indeed come out. And then I got through it. And I realized after he walked away, that Bryan Cranston must have said to him, "Hey, what's with your friend's voice? It's filling up the courtroom." Like the Broadway actor who hadn't talked to me all week actually came up to me and said, "Man, your voice really resounded." I was like, "Oh, I got noticed for the wrong thing. I'm not supposed to stand out. I'm a freaking jury foreman or whatever, the juror member. I'm not supposed to be standing out when I say one thing."
Right, and all of a sudden
But they
everybody's
didn't
like,
fire me, and I really dig Bryan Cranston for that because he was the director of that episode, and he could have just said, "Ooh, wow, that was really bad. Get that kid out of here and looked up some ADR."
yeah, yeah,
Kid.
let James Earl Jones go home.
I'm certain Bryan Cranston is younger than me, and I just had him calling me a kid.
Yeah, well, I'm sure he did actually.
That's because delusion just ain't a river in Egypt.
Well, the kid is also like where you're on your career. As far as he's concerned, as an actor, you're still a kid. You're a pup. You're a rook.
Yes, I am just starting my acting career, Mikey, but I predict big things, big things. Because, like I said, I spent a lot
You
of
can
time
only go up. At this point, up is the only place you can go. So it's going to get better. It's got to.
Is the one, baby.
It's got to get better. See, what'll be fun, once we start doing this for a minute, is maybe somebody will even take the time to go, "Hey guys, you look stupid," or whatever. They can at least talk to us.
I don't know. People write in and all that kind of stuff.
They can. That's the crazy thing, right? Of course, I was thinking, I'm like going, "Hey man, I'll go to YouTube," and then I realized I don't know what your channel is. So we're broadcasting, but I don't know what the channel is. But like, say I were to look for it now.
Right?
Let me see if I were to put in Paul Sanchez music, what it would do. Would it say, oh, there's Paul Sanchez. Paul Sanchez drunk this Christmas. There you go. That's what you want to be up the top of the list.
It is one of my most popular tunes. That's because every holiday, people that are from New Orleans love. You see, we do have some comments. That's nice.
Oh, you found some. Oh, what's funny here is I just saw a guy named Paul Sanchez with a POL.
JC said, "Get off my lawn."
Get off your lawn.
He also said 12 Angry Men, the musical. And Michael Cerveris, Tony Award-winning actor and sweet man, said, "So now I can't wait for Breaking Bad 2 starring Paul Sanchez or Cop Rock New Orleans."
There you go. See? Cranston was worried. You're going to want to be in the, and they're going to redo it, and you're going to be the, several people over on YouTube chat board. All right, so somebody else just told me.
Yeah, had questions, unfortunately. I've checked it, and nobody had questions, and let's see.
Look at this.
We still do have a half hour of our projected hour that we were going to do this.
Yeah, we're only 25 minutes in. So, well, we said 45, right? Especially to start.
I can tell you that I love movies. I just do.
Me too.
And then the first movie I ever worked on, especially when you're poor in America, there's two things that you had. You had radio, and it was free, and you could listen and sing along, and then you had TV, and you could watch all these great old movies, and that was my escape, those two things and books. And I just really, I have a great memory, so I'm constantly quoting movies throughout my life. And
I think it's one of the things that ages you as well, because I have all these pop culture references that to me were like, and the kids look at you like, what?
I save them. I save my references for older people because I got too many of those looks, from the kid. I actually told a couple of young friends, like, you need to watch more older movies, broaden your scope here.
Right.
But anyway, my first movie was Miller's Crossing. They were in town filming, and the wardrobe department had flooded. Hey, welcome to New Orleans.
Right.
So they hired me and this guy, Sid, from Mississippi. Happy Sid. He was a beautiful guy, to sweep out the wardrobe department. And they liked us both, so they kept us on as PAs. At first, I think the unit truck, where you prepare snacks, and that's where I did a lot of my guitar playing. And Sid loved it because he loved serving the actors, and he loved being near the people. And I was, 29-year-old pain in the ass, almost drunk because I had just lost a record deal in New York City, and came home from New York without my record deal. But I loved the movies, and so I was. And plus, sitting in a truck and getting paid for it, not bad.
Right.
Playing guitar. But then they moved me to set. My friend Dickie Wentz was on set, and I think he might have been instrumental, and that was really fun. Because then you're watching movies get made, and it's a pretty cool thing.
Which now for all the people who think it's all glamour, I mean, we talked about this. You sat around most of the day. I mean, what were you on set for? How long a day? An hour?
Well, if you're a movie fan, though, I mean, the sitting around part, it can get boring, But if you're a big film fan,
right.
the moments that occur are so magical. Like, Albert Finney was in the movie, and I'm a huge Albert Finney
Yeah,
fan.
right.
And with our offices were in the St. Thomas housing projects. Like at night when we were shooting, I'd be standing with the cops outside to lock up any traffic that might come by, which there wasn't. And we would hear AK-47s or automatic weapon fire a couple blocks away, and I would jump, and the cops go, "That's the neighborhood you're in, son. You better relax and enjoy it."
Right. Right.
But his first day on set, they drove him to the office, which was right there. It was daytime, and he came in, and he had a walking cane, and a hat. And he says, "Hello, everyone. My name is Albert Finney, but you can call me whatever the hell you want to." And then he charmed all the men and kissed all the girls. And then he announced that he was going to walk to his hotel, which I think was the Hilton or whatever, sometime on Canal Street. Pretty good walk, and through the St. Thomas housing area. And literally 6 people jumped up and went, no, we give you a ride. And somebody said, "It's pretty dangerous, Albert." And he just smiled and he said, "My friends, I've been all over the world and I've walked in places you couldn't possibly imagine. I'll be fine." And he walked to his hotel. And he was he's everything I ever wanted a movie star to be. He was charming. He was brilliant when the lights were turned on. And he could turn on like that. Like we were shooting in the New Orleans Country Club. The scene where Leo is shooting up the cars that tried to kill him. And he's in a silk robe and he's carrying a Tommy gun and a cigar. And the neighbors, it's the New Orleans Country Club area, or all these big houses, and they're out with champagne, watching a movie being filmed, and he's making friends and charming the ladies, of course, and smiling and laughing. And they go, "Albert, we need you." And then face turns to stone, Tommy gun comes out. It's like, wow, what a transformation. And so we end the night. It's been a really long night, and he's a big racing fan. Albert Finney was. In fact, his first day on set, he had the Teamster captain call the drivers together. And he said, "Oh, all right, gentlemen, anyone here have any connections at the fairgrounds?" And this young man raises his hand. He says, "My father's a trainer there." He goes, "I'll have him as my driver." And the guy's responsibility was, whatever his call time was, pick him up when it was track time, bring him there for his breakfast. He had a table waiting. He would stay in bed at the track until he had to be on set, and then he'd go on over to set. And so he's there, and he's standing at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning with the Louis Roussel, who owns a lot of horses at the track, and he's a big deal out there. And they call rap, and you hear his voice over the walkie-talkie, which the actors never speak on the walkie-talkie. And he goes, Alan Bretton was also on That's Where I Met Him. No, Gary, it was Gary Parkey. "Gary, Mr. Roussel has invited me to stay for some champagne. Am I done for the night?" And you can hear everybody just cracking up because, it's so Albert. Gary's like, "Yeah, you're done, Albert. Stay and have some champagne." So we're done working, and then that's Albert walking off with Louis Roussel, a couple of attractive women. They're all drinking champagne. It's like a scene out of a movie itself,
Right.
He was beautiful. It was fun. Those kind of moments for me, when I get to meet somebody whose work I've admired, and they turn out to be cool. I had a lot of that on Your Honor. Like Maura Tierney, I'm a big fan, and she had a really great role, and it was fun watching her.
Like
warm up
Maura
for
Tierney.
Yeah, she's a lawyer in it, and But the thing was, like, for the first 3 days, she had this wig on that made her hair look like Patti Smith, and I wanted to ask her, I didn't know it was a wig. I wanted to go up and say, "Is that a wig?" Because you normally have beautiful hair, but that would be if it was her real hair.
Yeah, right.
So at the end of the first week or something, maybe it was the second week of shooting, they came in wardrobe and they put the wig on her. And I walked over, I said, "I'm so relieved because I've been watching that hair for a week, and I was just thinking to myself, what happened to her hair?" And she said, "Yeah, I'm supposed to look like Patti Smith." And I said, "Okay, good." And in my mind, I was like, whew. But I think I probably still managed to insult her with that comment. I should have just gone with the beautiful hairline.
No, see, personally, I think that, well, what do I know about the mind of a woman? But, but at the same time, to me, it made sense to me. It made sense to me. You're saying I was worried that your hair looked like that, but it doesn't. It looks like this beautiful. I would think that
I didn't say that.
But it is a long way around. I mean, that's
so nice. And I met a young Irish actress who was playing the court stenographer, and she had been in Gran Torino with Clint Eastwood, and
Wow.
she'd been in one Rocky films with Stallone when she was young, and just well, one of the later ones, because she's very young now. And she spoke, and I just walked up to her and I said, I don't want to be forward, but you're Irish, and your accent in that Gran Torino was just dead spot on Midwestern. And she said, "Oh, thank you very much." And then I said, "Ireland's literally my favorite place in the world. I want to live there for a while at least, at some point before I leave this planet. It's the most beautiful place ever." And she said, "Which part?" I said, "Galway." And she said, "That's where we live, me and my husband." And I was like, that's so that was really it was. She was lovely, and then there was an episode of Doctor Who
Uh-huh.
where they took Van Gogh to a museum to see that he actually became the greatest artist in the world. And it's a really moving scene. And because, a lot of artists don't get to be famous in their lifetime, but make people know their work afterwards. Right. And the validation in his face, the joy at being known as a great artist and validating that what he knew, that he was a great artist, made me weep. And then that guy showed up on the final day of shooting. And of all the big stars around me, that was the guy that I was the most speechless about. I mean, I went totally fanboy and went right up to him and said, "Man, like I say, you're seen as Van Gogh in Doctor Who. It was one of the most beautiful things as an artist that I've ever seen," and made me cry. And he said, "Oh, thank you very much. I get a lot of nice compliments from that." And he was Irish too.
Nice.
I love the Irish people.
Nice, because I could have seen the other side of that, going the Van Gogh. Because I imagine this is an hour of the guy's life or something. So.
Well, there was a Broadway actor who plays the father of the boy on trial. And I understand from Michael Cerveris that he's a very serious Broadway actor. He's big time talent. But he also played in Men in Black 3 as the character, the alien who could see the future and the past, and he takes him to the Mets.
I love that guy.
That guy. Yes. And the joy in his face when he's watching the baseball game unfold is like that of a 10-year-old. Yes. It's so beautiful. So I wanted to go up to him and say, "The joy in your face," and that's it. But I figured it might not be the role he's proudest of.
Yes. Although he should be, because
I would love to be a fan and say, "I loved you in this," but then you don't want to walk away and have him go, "Jesus, that's what he saw me in." There was another actress who had played Tony Stark's mom in Iron Man. I'm a big, fan of the Marvel verse. So I wanted to say, "Hey, saw you as Tony. You can't do that. First of all, you can't go all fanboy. You got to sit there and be cool." Although there was a beautiful young African-American actor from Los Angeles who'd flown in to play a really dramatic scene in the trial. And he was dead serious the whole time, and he did this beautiful scene where he broke down. But when they called rap on him, it was so great because I felt a little relief. He went fanboy, and Bryan Cranston, he went, "Man, I don't want to be fanboy on you, but me and my brother are just biggest fans of your show. I took him to the set in Arizona for his birthday, and if I could just get a picture with you, it would blow his mind." And Cranston, of course, was like, "Ah, yeah, it'd be great." And it did. I think he might have even called him or something. Might have stood there and said hello or something. But the kid was over the moon. Mm-hmm. And I said, "Okay, then it's okay for me to be over the moon. We're all just people in the long run. They just happen to be way better at their craft and way more well-known for doing it."
See, I would have said something stupid because, not that that's a surprise, but I was just thinking, the Kong versus Godzilla trailer came out, and of course Bryan Cranston was in that first Godzilla whatever movie.
It was hard not to, mention all the things I'd seen him in.
But I could see him going, "Are they going to bring you back in Godzilla?" And he's like, "Yeah, no, I died. I died." And I don't know if you watched the whole thing, but I died. So.
Did you see the whole movie? Did you actually watch the movie, or did you look up my IMDb?
Come on, Godzilla? Are you kidding me? I was all over that.
I did. I did give
forward some of Cranston's parts. You can't tell him I said that, but I fast forward so I can get to the monsters again. A couple times. Like a kid. What are you gonna do?
I did all the actors and all the crew CDs of mine, or if they had record players, I gave them albums. And in Bryan Cranston's case, since he was doing a show in New Orleans, I gave him a copy of 9 Lives, and I said, "Here, here's 40 years of New Orleans history in 2 CDs." And he goes, "Wow, that's interesting." And I don't know if he ever listened to it, but if he does sing, he would be an awesome Frank Mignard.
Right? Right? Can you imagine just speaking it? Not
just speaking it, like Rex Harrison in My Fair Lady.
Yes, or William Shatner.
Bought me a secondhand horn. Oh, William Shatner,
Actually, Shatner's a genius. Shatner's the best bad actor of his generation, I think. You know.
Picture yourself in a boat on a river with tangerine trees and marmalade skies. You ever seen that one?
Yeah. Oh my God. That's what I said. He's the best bad actor of his generation. Who would be the best bad actor of their generation now?
He doesn't have to do anything other than be him.
Right. You've seen Galaxy Quest, right? I mean, you know.
Yeah.
Who hasn't seen? Right. If you like those.
One of the greats. Yeah.
Right.
That's one you watch over and over again because the mixture of comedy and plus, you know, that's another actor, Alan Ruck.
Right.
Alan Rickman. Rickman. He could do anything. He could do the stupidest comedy, and he could, you know, be the scary villain. He could be the lover. He was an amazing actor. Oh, yeah. I was sorry.
The Die Hard villain thing. I think it's like he's one of the top villains ever in movie history, kind of thing. You know, the Die Hard villain.
Pretty fascinating. I think it was his first film role too.
Really was? Wow. But so he was but he was an actor.
I think.
Yeah.
I just spoke like a Republican politician.
We have this thing called the internet. I could actually look it up and see if you know. I've seen people who do this stuff before, and they have like all you hear is clicking at this point. You know.
Yeah, I don't want clicking.
No, well, I'm not even to the clicking yet, so that just goes to show you where we are. But let's see, Alan Rickman roles. Let's see when his first movie was. I'm just curious at this point because you're right. He was. Let's see. Do I have his name? Yeah, Alan Rickman. Let's see here. I hope Wiki's right. Who God only knows. Oh yeah, look at this. 1990s, 1980s. So, he did start a little bit.
It was his first American film, right?
Yeah, look at that. No kidding. Yeah. That is his first. I did not know that.
Yeah, you know, Mikey, there's a lot of useless stuff crammed into this cranial. It's not just songs, man.
Obviously.
There are historical facts. There's movie trivia. There's poem. I mean, it's crowded in there.
Well, wait a second. Alan Rickman's kind of like your mascot because how old was he when he did Die Hard? I guess I could look that up too. I'd unclose the thing up.
But he looks like he's in his 30s there.
Do you think?
But he was a successful actor in England before he came to do that in America.
Gotcha. Yeah, I was going to say that.
I believe. I think he was trained at the Royal Academy in London.
You know, you do look kind of like I got to bring this image up again because you look like a villain here, and it just thinking of Rickman right here. I'm gonna take this shot. Tell me Paul's not the villain there. See, you can't see it, can you? But
no, but I can look on it on my YouTube channel.
This is the cop shot where you got the badge, New Orleans police badge around you, and the guy who's looking at you looks like you just told him that you were sleeping with his mother.
Oh no, you know, like this was a perplexing case, Mikey.
Is that?
And so, you know, I'm giving it to him straight because I've seen 1,000 murders. I'm on homicide. This isn't nothing new to me. I don't care. But he knew the girl's father, and he suspects that this chick might have offed her own father to run off with her derelict boyfriend with the father's money. That's why he's taking the news bad, because now his suspicions are confirmed, and he knows it even before he walks in the room.
And I got to bring it up again because the look. Of
course, this is all subtext. This is all he and I in the eyes. You know, we're just
look at the gravitas of you. It looks like, you know, I'm looking at your eyes here. If you can see it when it comes up on your YouTube stream, but man, the gravitas.
You know, it's funny. No one said that to me.
That was yeah. Nobody was like.
But I think they will when they next use me. I'll be getting a call, you know, any day for the next season. They probably waited a season because they didn't want to force a character. But when I get the call, the producer will almost certainly use the word gravitas.
Yes, and I think they're trying to drive the price down a little. You know, it's these Hollywood types. You know, they're like.
Well, you know, my price is whatever you got.
Right. What do you got?
What do you got?
Call me up. Making an independent film? Call me up.
There's a worldwide pandemic, and I'm not touring, so whatever you got is good.
Right. I'm down. I'm all in.
That's my hard bargain.
So, any new movies? I mean, it's been a terrible time for movies, right? I mean, I know we were talking about.
So there was a long shutdown, but you know, my brother John is on Queen Sugar, the television series, and he's the
production designer,
art director, I believe. Was that production designer? And they managed. I mean, they came and did a season, and even their writers and showrunners, Johnny told me they worked really, really hard to come and update it They rewrote scripts, rewrote the whole season so that they could fit the pandemic into it because they wanted to help with awareness. And of course, they were very safe on set, just as the Your Honor people were. Everybody's tested 3 times a week and social distancing and masks, the whole deal. So there was my movie friends got back to work up until the holidays, which is normally a break anyway.
Uh-huh.
And post holidays, movies usually would have started in mid January, but with the pandemic surging, then it kind of got pushed back. But they're coming. You know, they're
I know there's a lot of stuff. I
they're
mean,
coming.
HBO Max this year, what, putting one out just about every month. If you've got HBO Max, same day as theaters, kind of thing.
I think of all the other friends I have that are working, but pretty much everybody I know is doing okay. And then I'm still a member of the IATSE union, the stagehands union.
Uh-huh.
So I saw the production report, and there's a lot of work coming to town. I'm happy for my film friends.
Yeah, I've heard that there's some more stuff starting to finally start to pick up. I mean, there's so many protocols and everything now. I'm sure it's going to cost more money to make.
This year has been like an unfolding science fiction film.
It certainly has.
It really has, and it sort of continues to be so in ways I don't wish to discuss because I'd like to keep another cup of coffee. I'd like it to be something that brings joy to people. I just saw a beautiful report on the CBS Morning Show about Tony Bennett. His family just announced he has Alzheimer's at 94, and they were interviewing his wife, and he still performs once or twice a month house concerts from his home that he broadcasts. And she said he remembers all the lyrics. He's still him. He just forgets a few things now and then. And he said that he always figured his job was to make people feel good.
I tell you what, I worked Jazz Fest. He came and played with Lady Gaga.
I remember that.
Right. And anyway, man, on stage and stuff, when he came off, to come on stage, I mean, this guy's smiling. He doesn't know who you are. He's shaking the hands of the guys who carry the drums off the stage and stuff, just with both hands. When you grab somebody's hand and you put your hand on the other side of it, and how are you doing today? Smiling and just full of, like you're saying, the personality just taking over the room and. And
I saw a movie a few years ago called The Zen of Bennett, and it was him directed by one of his sons, making an album produced by one of his sons, and it was just him talking about the art of being Tony Bennett. And there was one line I'll never forget. He said, "There's 2 things I love: singing and art, and I try to get better at them both every day."
Nice.
Yeah.
I was just thinking too, because the juxtaposition was kind of funny to me. But after Tony comes up and he's shaking everybody's hands and his love, and you can see love coming out of his eyes, hearts are just floating in the air out of the guy's eyes, and then Lady Gaga's people came up and proceeded to tell us to get the hell off the stage. You guys have to go. To be fair, they were setting up some dressing rooms and stuff like that, but they were. Let's just say they weren't love coming out of their eyes when they came and told us.
No. No, well, maybe Tony's working with Tony is a good influence. Maybe because she seems to have
she's talented,
a big heart,
incredibly talented, and
maybe she'll get people around her with bigger hearts.
Yeah, and I think part of that's probably that you've been around these people. You got people protecting you,
Right, and you hire somebody who with you, of course, is very polite and very nice, and then the problem is when you see them in a situation where they have to move your fans, you go, "Oh my God, this is a mistake. We can't let that guy stay with us."
This is a problem or whatever. But when they're getting you green M&Ms, it's cool. But when they're
we used to have a bus driver in Cowboy Mouth. Well, we had many, but this guy thought it was his job to be our protector, and he would always insist on walking us into the club. But then one day somebody came and just to get an autograph, but just got too close. And he pulls one of those big giant flashlights out of his pocket and raises it over his head. I was like, "No, we don't need help walking in, man.
We're good.
Go back to the bus, and you cannot kill anybody until after the show. That'd be great."
That would be fantastic. So this is our first show.
Yes.
Our first attempt at doing this. It's funny because thinking about the show over the weekend, I'm like, "Oh man, I really want to talk about this GameStop thing," but I decided our first show should probably be just more like what it will normally be.
GameStop thing's tricky. First of all, I don't know anything about the stock market, and secondly, I'm the underdog my whole life. I don't know what the facts are. I'm going to cheer for the little guy, man.
Yes, right. So we're all in for the little. There's so much going on now. I feel like it needs its own discussion day or whatever. But I will say the only thing I will say about it is that these guys who got burned. We're shorting the stock at 120%, which means they were shorting more stock than was even available. to short. And so when these guys start buying it, everybody who goes in for short, they don't have to pay for it yet. What they're doing is they're betting that when they do have to pay, the stock will be worth a whole lot less. So it didn't happen that way.
Dr. John might say, what goes around comes around.
And yeah, I just hope that, some people who are saying they might get involved and are keeping an eye on the situation, I hope they stay out of it because you know what? These guys made these rules. They set it up themselves.
And this is why we're going to stick to music and movies and travel.
That's right. Because I thought about it and I'm like going, man, but this is like, it's funny because this is one of the things I think that everybody can actually get behind. It's one of those, like maybe we shouldn't kill people in the streets kind of thing, Most people can get behind that. Most people, just saying.
Most people
are all about
just saying.
But
listen,
it's been a fun.
Whoever is out there tuned in know that basically this is going to be me and an old friend having coffee, talking about what pops up. Nothing special. Don't expect fireworks or set design. Hopefully at some point when everybody's been vaccinated, I've convinced my friend John Thomas Griffith and John Boutte and some other friends to have coffee and talk about old times together. For now, it's me and one of my dearest old friends, and it's great sharing a cup with you, my bud.
Same here. And look, anybody who wants to join in the conversation, you're free to chat, but also, reach out. Who knows? We'll pull you into the conversation.
Oh, they can do that. They can join us.
I can make people join us. Yes, as long as they have Skype.
Crazy, our wizard.
We could.
Okay, so remember that you can be part of this conversation too.
Yes, and eventually we may want to pull in some of you people in, as long as you aren't as stupid as we are.
Well, you just set the bar pretty low.
Yes, well, I did it on purpose. You should be able to jump over this bar. It should be like hopscotch.
You should be able to casually step over.
Right, like a crack in the cement, really. Just step right over it. But no, we had a lot of fun this morning. We thank you guys for tuning in.
Yeah.
And
I think
I think we're gonna start doing this maybe 3 days a week, right? We're thinking maybe Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or this kind of thing, or Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. I don't know. We're talking a few days a week. We're not gonna do every day a week yet until we kind of get this thing rolling a little bit. But
I might have to switch to Tuesdays and Thursdays so I can get out of bed. But we'll see. We'll discuss.
Yes, but we'll let you know on Facebook. Keep an eye on Paul's Facebook and.
There you go.
We'll see you after.
And thanks for tuning in.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Mike Mayu and
same here.
Sam
coffee.
Antics.
I don't know about you, but my coffee was delicious. Cream and 2 sugars.
It was perfect. Yeah, I'm a cream guy too. Yeah, I gotta have cream in my coffee.
I remember you used to come over. You loved the coffee. I'd make the coffee in the studio in the mornings when you come over and do some recording, and you were always like, "Don't even tell me what you put in it because it's perfect." I love it. So
Miss those days. Miss that studio.
Me too.
Glad we
Take
did
care,
this.
buddy. And hey, look, I'm gonna play our outro song on the way out. This is very exciting. You probably won't be able to hear it, but
I'll turn up my YouTube.
There you go. Turn up YouTube. At some point, you'll be able to hear.
Outro.
Well, I used to keep my money in a cookie jar. It was shaped like a cat, it was a present from my brother. I read a lot of books, but I couldn't see between the lines. I'll have another cup of coffee if you don't mind. Well, her hair is as black as an alleyway, and it used to be red, and it used to be blonde.